Invite His Excellency Carl Bildt, Foreign Minister of Sweden, to give us his thoughts.
Thanks very much, and truly an honor to be here. Great appreciation for the role that Qatar is playing in bringing us together for debates of this sort. My friend, Prime Minister from Kurdistan, alluded to the experience of Europe. And let me just note that today, for us Europeans, is Europe Day. It is 66 years since the end of the Second World War. And let's remember that was really a series of civil wars that destroyed all of Europe and enlarged the war over the entire world. That was brought to an end, and we managed to build peace after that. But it's also 20 years after the final fall of the Soviet Union and the Soviet Empire that oppressed half of our continent. That transformation that was started 20 years ago was certainly not an easy, quick, linear, or unproblematic thing. It played out over years. It had its profound setbacks, notably a decade of war in the Balkans. It wasn't really brought to a successful conclusion until these countries, 10 of them, 100 million people, were able to join the European Union in 2004. What we now see playing out in your part of the world, the Arab awakening, is, in my opinion, an event of at the least the same magnitude with the same impact on the global scene in the years to come. We are 500 million Europeans nowadays in the biggest integrated economy in the world. You can add to that 100 million further Europeans, Southeastern Europe, including Turkey, that are now trying to and will join eventually the European Union. We are neighbors of the 200 million Europeans to our east, but now, of course, very much focusing our relationship with what is soon 400 million people of the Arab world. The relationship between Europe and the Arab world will be decisive for both of our worlds in the years to come. We are now, of course, consumed by the anguish of Libya, the anger of Syria. We know that only representative government that brings together people of all political beliefs and religious convictions and truly respect them can bring true peace and stability to these as well as other countries. We look forward to democratic elections later this year in Tunisia, in Egypt, and we hope that the recent agreement will also bring democratic elections to Palestine again. This will serve as an inspiration for others. But the challenges that are there are, of course, huge when democracy, representative government has arrived. If you look at different reports, you can see the state of the Arab world. Freedom House, in its annual report, says that this is the least free area of the world. If you look at Transparency International, described corruption all over the place. Only really Qatar and UAE stands out in a positive light. The rest is rather problematic. The challenges you see in the unemployment figures. 60% of the population under 25 years of age. In North Africa, youth unemployment is hovering between 25 and 30%. If you take those that have college or higher education, it's normally around 40%. And if you look at these figures, you understand that while we are now facing, or you are facing, a revolution of rising expectations, the task for politics is to get the policies in place that prevents this from turning into a revolution of failed expectations some years into the future. This is fairly easy in theory, but in the world of practical politics with rapidly rising social demands, of course, somewhat more complicated. What needs to be done is, of course, profound reform. Open up the economies, open up trade, get rid of restrictive practices and monopolies, and really make certain that the jobs are coming, entrepreneurship, innovation, what really brings progress. This will have to be done by the respective countries themselves. But we must look, Europeans, on how we can help and assist in different ways. We have been talking about free trade, Mediterranean, GCC for years. I think we need to go beyond that. At least offer what we're offering to our neighbors in the East, of what we call deep and comprehensive free trade. But also looking perhaps even beyond that. can we have customs union between all of us? Look at Turkey, which has gone from a low-growth, crisis-ridden economy in the past to the growth hub that it is today. That was truly facilitated by its entering into the customs union with the European Union in 1996. It wasn't easy. Competitive pressures for reform increased. The old had to give way to the new. But now you are beginning to see the truly transformative effect that has had, and that is something along the lines of what is needed for the Arab world. I think we need a profound dialogue, deep, between the European Union and Turkey on the one side and the Arab League on the other, and how we together can move forward in order to make this possible. I think this is what is really needed for success. But then we have to, and His Highness alluded to that as well, we have also to look at some of the political issues that are not at the forefront at the moment, but will be in the future if not resolved. And that's primarily the question of Israel-Palestine. Is not only a question of making peace between the State of Israel and the PLO. In an age of transformation towards democracies, look at Egypt, it's a question of making peace between the people of Israel and the peoples of the Arab world. If that is not done, and now is the time, that's a ticking time bomb under everything that we are trying to achieve. But there's also the potential in that should not be neglected. Because if that is achieved, then all of the talent of Israel can join with the talent of the rest of the region of which it is a part in order to further development in the future. So there are large tasks ahead. We can learn somewhat from the experience of Europe, although it's very different. Their world will have to seek its own future and its own path forward. But we are neighbors, the 500 million Europeans and the 400 million Arabs. History has again thrown us together in a joint enterprise to create a better future. We see a rising Asia, we see a reforming Africa, we see a more confident Latin America, and now we see the hope that is also being brought by the Arab awakening from Marrakesh to Muscat. Together, it should offer us a much brighter future. Thanks.